Hey, what is up, every morning? Good Saturday morning, Saturday evening, or wherever you are listening from. Good Saturday, or I don't know. It
Yeah.
could be Sunday, I guess, in
Yeah,
some
I
cases.
was
But
about to say it could be Sunday in some places. Yeah.
I don't know if we've interviewed a band that's that far ahead of us yet. But
Well, well, I mean, we've had a couple of Australian guests. We've gotten close. So
we have
we
gotten close. So.
yeah, we've gotten close to that international dateline quite a few times. So so it does happen. But yes, good Saturday to everybody wherever you are. Uh, we are the Metalheads Unite podcast. We are glad to be with you guys. Oh boy, it's getting warm, isn't it? I
It
mean,
is, yeah,
spring's
it's
coming along, and I
fast.
know that spring's coming along, and I don't know if how many people were paying attention to what happened, here in Tennessee the last week, but we kind of had a little bit of interesting weather go on last week. I know Jason, your house got clipped by it, so a lot of people around here are digging out from that tornado that rolled through here. Um, so winter was trying to hold on for a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to
Yeah,
work
and
too.
I think it's snow flurry the next day.
It did. Yeah, it went from
So it's kind of
it
crazy.
the damn temperature went from like 80 to 30 something. We had that tornado roll through Sunday night, and then but we made it through, and here we are. And I would say that our guests are going to be able to definitely corroborate the it's getting warm kind of thing, considering that they're all the
Oh
way
yeah,
they're all the way down in Miami. So I'd say without further ado, we bring in 3/4 of of our guest band today. We All Rise from Miami, Florida.
You,
Yeah, we got Joel, we
Hello.
got Gary, and we got 13. So
yeah, what's up?
Hey,
good morning to everybody.
Hell
good
yeah.
morning.
Morning.
Morning, brother. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Oh well, hell, Jason, man.
Beautiful.
After Jason listened to the album when it came out a few weeks ago, he was tripping all over himself trying to send an email to you guys to get you to come on the show.
We appreciate you guys taking the time to check out the album, man. It actually means a lot to us, man.
Yeah,
Take the time to listen to it and stuff, it's fucking awesome, man.
yeah,
yeah, and I'm not. I don't want to say this just to pull your strings while you're on here either, man. That album is like one of my favorites right now, dude. It's like
Thank
Yeah.
you.
so far this year. I mean, you got. I mean, we know it's early in the year and there's a lot to come out later on, but right now it's in the running for some top
Some en-
top albums
yeah,
of the year stuff
Thank you. Thank
for
you.
me anyway. So
yeah. Some end of the year honors. Yeah,
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 but,
Really
Guys,
appreciate that, man.
yeah,
Hopefully,
man.
there's more people like you.
Yeah, man.
yeah. Well, I hope so. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think once people have a chance to hear it, I think I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of prevailing opinions that are going to lean that way. I do. I really do. So well, and having said that, I mean, we're looking at what, a month now. The album's been out about a month, right, Jason?
About a
Came
month,
out on
yeah.
the 20th. Is that when it came out?
Mhm.
So
I think so, yeah.
we're a month in to the album's release. So how has it been received so far?
Very great, man. Not for nothing, we've been played a couple shows for the release, and it's been going good, man. Same thing. Thank God, we're getting a lot of feedback, man. We said it was a labor of love. We put a lot of hard work and love into it, so it's nice to see that we're getting some of that love back, man.
Good. So so you guys were able to play some release shows at this point.
Yep, the day of the release, we played a party down here in our town in Miami, Florida, for the Brutality Metal Fest. And
Oh,
man,
all right. Yeah.
yeah, and that thing got slam packed. All the bands were awesome. Everybody came together, and it was a great time, man. Good time for our music scene, just in general, all the bands, and just a great release. Sold a lot of merch, all that good stuff. We're able to sell some prints right there. We printed up some physical copies, so we had those to go, and it was great, man. Everybody was real cool.
That's
so, I mean,
awesome.
you guys are in a pretty hotbed for metal too. I think in the Florida area. So, I mean, if you go back and look at some of the some of the bands. That live down. I know one of my favorites, Non-Points from down in Florida. So,
Yeah.
Like,
so it's a big scene down there. It's very. I guess it's still pretty competitive. I would think. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
not yeah,
There's a lot
non-point,
of great bands. The problem is that
yeah.
there's really no much support here in South Florida. Not
mm,
even like from venues or anything. It's just it's weird in a little island here in South Florida.
right.
Huh.
So do you guys have to
Yeah,
like go to like Orlando and Tampa areas and stuff like that,
Correct,
or?
because bands usually just drop down to Orlando, nothing south of that. Like
Ah, gotcha.
so, we get nothing.
Yeah, that's not good.
13. What were you gonna say, bud?
I was just gonna say, yeah, man. We non-point. They're actually from Fort Lauderdale. We love them.
Mm,
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Seen them many times. But yeah, the guys are right. I mean, it's Florida's a different beast, man. It's you get South Florida, which is kind of different than the rest of the state,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
what Joel was saying is you get a lot of bands, a lot of touring bands that come down to the southeastern U.S. They come into Florida, then they go to Orlando, they go to Tampa, and then they head out. They don't always come all the way down because Florida's a long state, man. They don't always want to
Yeah.
come down here.
yeah,
Yeah. It is.
yeah,
Yeah.
So we
It's
don't
just
get that. Yeah,
yeah. We're all
especially
the way at the tip, man.
yeah, man. So you tend to see a lot of that. Bands kind of stop in Central Florida and then go back out. But even so, Orlando, Tampa, they're amazing for metal, amazing for area. Obviously, the Tampa area, and that's. I mean, you got what Obituary, Morbid Angel, all those
yeah,
Yeah,
bands.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
the death metal scene is ridiculous over there. So
Yeah.
Tampa's
Yeah.
amazing.
Deicide. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's so many, and that's still strong over there. So,
hmm
but South Florida is a different beast.
It's like some weird I-4 boundary or something like that for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah,
Who
man.
knows? It's I-4 cuts across. We're like, that's as far as we need to go. So,
yeah.
it's so
and
it's so
That's
weird.
what I'm saying. We're like in an island here.
it's
Yeah.
not for lack of bands, man. Let me tell you, there's a lot of great bands here in
Oh yeah.
Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm. They're just great. I think just a lot of the venues tend to kind of get freaked out when they hear, oh, it's a metal show, or hard rock even. They start kind of freaking out. They think everybody's going to kill each other, and I'll be honest with you, man. We played a million shows, and I think the less you hear fights and stuff breaking out, every once in a while you have a problem, but in general, man, let me tell you, I think that's one of the things that people think the most, that the shows are, if you book a show in your venue, they're going to destroy your venue. Forget about it. When that night's over, there's going to be bottles broken everywhere. Everything's destroyed,
Yeah.
fights, stabbings.
Yeah,
And it's not like that, man. The metal community is actually, pretty respectful community of the place. Yeah, we get rowdy, we get loud, but at the end of the day, there is a respect, and we're there, we
right.
respect each other, even though people see the mosh pits. They see the stuff, but, everybody knows the mosh pit law. You fall, people pick each other up.
That's
Nobody's
right.
trampling on each other. Somebody on the outside might think they're killing each other there. There's
yeah,
actually love right there, man. There's a lot of camaraderie, and people are, new people coming into the pit. They, hey,
yeah.
man, you got in the pit, get in. So, I think that's one of the problems we have down here. But it's still a growing scene, like people are still fighting, man. We're still fighting for the scene, and so are a lot of the other musicians, to make this a town that is going to be recognized one day, hopefully,
Mm.
for music, and that's one of the stuff that also that's why we're always like, hey, we're from Miami, Florida, to kind of open people's eyes up and say, this is not just a town for, Latin music. Not that I have anything against it. I love Latin music. I love all music.
Right.
But
Sure.
just in general, it just feels like just because it makes a lot more money, the DJs are
Yeah,
going to have more money here. They'll pay thousands and thousands of dollars and book huge venues for DJs. Where for the bands, even touring bands will still get something, not as great, not such a huge venue as a
mm.
DJ could, or another band. So I think there's a market here, man. There's a lot of fucking metalheads here, man. It's just
Oh yeah.
musicians,
Yeah.
and that's the thing that's kind of crazy too. That you'll see same thing. The show in West Palm, or up in Tampa, a badass show. You'll see everybody from here have to drive hours and hours and hours over this. It's not like there isn't a market. Not only is there a market here, but they're so desperate that they'll actually drive fucking 6 hours to go see a badass concert. So it's like there is a
Yeah.
market here. The people are here. It's just a matter of making it work. Finally
Yeah.
getting
Right.
kind of the thing lifted of saying, hey, you can book a metal show and not everybody's gonna
Yeah.
fucking
It's
die.
like a stigma having a rock band here in South Florida. We're like, oh, rock, you guys, like, oh, I'm a
The metal.
Yeah, we're the devil.
You're gonna put
Yeah,
up
well,
worship
well,
the devil.
I mean, hell, that's just a microcosm of what heavy metal's been going through for the past, hell, going on 50
Yeah.
years at this point. I mean, everyone,
Yeah.
of course, always has the knee jerk reaction, to our long hair and tattoos and shit like that, and so it's one of those things. I mean, metal's been fighting that fight since Black Sabbath came around. So I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it just, you know, it sucks that even now in 2026 that we're still having to deal with that. But I mean, so there was there's a metal festival here in Tennessee that had to deal with that shit. And let's see, what this is 2016. When was the first year of that, Jason? 2021?
21 or 22. It was,
20,
like,
anyway.
it was right after COVID.
It was right
so.
after COVID. So there was a heavy metal festival here that got started up. It's about 3 hours west of here. It's in between Nashville and Memphis, and we went to the first one, and it was at a beautiful city park. It was like next to a lake, and I mean it was like the second weekend in October. The weather was absolutely gorgeous for this day, and there was a few hundred people that showed up for this brand new heavy metal festival, and I mean the genres ran the gamut. From there was a little bit of hard rock, and then like the headliner was a black metal band, and there was no issues. I mean, no trash left. I mean, there was no trash left behind at this park. No nothing. No fights. No one got drunk. No one left any trash behind. And the people who were putting on this metal festival were literally getting picketed by the locals because, of course, they heard that there was a heavy metal festival coming to town. And I'm no shit. I'm not making this up. Jason can back me up on this. There were people on Facebook who literally thought that a portal to hell was going to open up in their city park. No, I'm not making this up. I wish I was joking. I am not joking. But they're
drilling.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, of course, the organizers of the festival, they decided to like lean into the skid, and we're like, they decided to take that and run with it as a joke, and the last 3 years they've actually used that as kind of like I say, as a running joke, and they have and they have since moved to a bigger venue that has kind of welcomed them in and everything else. So I mean, they found a bigger venue because the festival got more and more popular, so they kind of outgrew the first venue anyway. But
now they've done it again too. So
they have, because they actually decided to take this year, 2026. They're gonna be taking the year off. That way they can reevaluate the venue situation. But I mean, it's still and of course, like Jason and I, like we've said before, I mean, we can't sit here and be in denial that there's not satanic bands. Of course there are. There are. I mean, we're not. Granted, we're trying to be champions of heavy metal as best we can for being a couple of DIY guys having a podcast, but we're not going to be disingenuous and sit here and say no, there aren't any bands that worship Satan. There are, of course there are, but for every one, you probably got 200 that don't. I mean, for crying out loud, you got Striper and Demon Hunter and everything else. I mean, you got Christian metal bands out there too. Weapons of God has been on the show. They're friends of ours now. So I mean, you find a controversial topic, there's a metal band that's going to sing about it for or against it. It doesn't matter. There's going to be metal bands on both sides of any topic. You pick something. I mean, hell, how many political songs has Dave Mustaine written for Megadeth? I mean,
my favorite guy, person to bring up when we talk about this kind of stuff is freaking Tom Araya from Slayer, right?
Oh yeah.
He's it's hilarious because he's done so many interviews over the years where people are like, so what's with all the demonic satanic imagery you guys use on your albums and all this, and he just what his response is always? He always just laughs. He laughs because he's like, are you guys freaking serious? So you think we actually worship Satan, don't you? But he gives a whole explanation to why they do that and all this stuff. It's hilarious, but he just laughs. It's the funniest thing ever.
Well, I remember saying something about the if I have to put a pentagram on every record to sell 200,000 copies, and that's what I'll do. So
Yeah.
if it sells records, and do what you got to do. I guess. But I mean,
Yeah.
when you go back to that, though, what you're saying is you could say that devil worshiping could be in country music or pop music or any of that. As far as that goes, I mean, you can't tell a person's like religious beliefs by just looking at them or hearing their music. I mean, sometimes you can. Don't get me wrong, but for the most part, you can't tell that from a song.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I always wondered how much shit Charlie Daniels got for The Devil Went Down to Georgia. You know what I mean? I always wondered about that.
oh, you gotta.
So
our
I
friend-
always,
our-
Yeah.
Shout out
Always.
to Hank Hill was talking about when ACDC got asked about their name meaning Antichrist Devil Child, and they just laughed. It just means electricity, man.
Oh yeah, ACDC. Yeah, man,
That's
ACDC's got to stand for something.
Right.
well,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's the same
Well,
thing with Kiss.
Well, I yeah, and
Yeah.
Wasp and all the other bands that had
I remember it used to be nights in Satan's service.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There you go. So,
Which
it's
by
just,
the way, Hank Hill, man, thanks for the comment. Good to see you. Good to see you this morning, bud. Hank Hill's one of our frequent flyers here. He's one of our regulars here in the chat on YouTube. So we thank him for showing up. But it's just so weird, and I have to laugh because you know what it's always been with heavy metal. You know what it's always been. It's been these suburban it's been these suburban white women. These I say and of course I say that as a white dude. But I mean it's always been your Tipper Gores and it's just always these uppity busybody people, and just if you don't like it, that's fine. Don't listen. It's not for you anyway. Not for you.
I think my first response to those people would be, so you did listen though, right? Since you know what it's all about.
That's true.
So did you,
Now it just gives people money for clicks.
So my music's getting out to you.
That's right.
Yeah. Of course, the cool thing is that shit blew up in their face. When Rob Halford and Dee Snider went to DC, because I mean they were pissing and moaning about fuck like a beast and everything else, but it's like, okay, fine, you got your little sticker, but all that did was like make it easier for people to find the good music. So
yeah.
that's all it did.
Every time I see it, I'll be like, explicit lyrics. Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm in.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's like,
That's
hell yeah,
right.
I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always loved it. Always love watching those clips of when like Marilyn Manson would go on to freaking like the late night shows and like or the talk shows and like just outspeak everybody. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Everybody thought that the government were going to hand Dee Snider his ass when he went to Capitol Hill, and it was like, au contraire. It's like,
Right.
Surprise, surprise! He was actually a very intelligent dude. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So so that's just one of those. It's one of those things that metal's been dealing with, and talking about metal in Florida. We've got a buddy of ours, and he's actually listening right now. He's got a Facebook group of his own that we've partnered with over the years, and we've gotten to know him really well. But he actually has organized some tours that have gone down to the Brass Mug down in Tampa.
Yep.
He's got so he's been taking bands from the Tennessee area here, local bands down, and he's been taking them down to Tampa. So he's got a little bit of insight to the, and he's got a little bit of a friendship with some of the guys from Obituary. So so he's got some familiarity with metal scene down there in Tampa. And of course, Jason, hell, you're from that area originally, so I mean, roughly, where you
somewhat, yeah.
Yes, I'd say somewhat, but
Well, Clearwater was, and then my dad lived in Ocala, so
okay,
so,
Ocala and Clear.
And then all of my family from my dad's side lived in that little area. I think my granddad lived in Auburndale, and then my uncle lived in Lakeland, and so they were all kind of in that area.
Okay.
So
Yeah, man, it's
Here's a
that Tampa metal scene is something else, man. It's been around for decades and it's just still going strong. It's amazing.
Yeah.
so here's something I wanted to bring up because we don't ever get to do this. This is kind of cool actually that you guys were able to schedule this after the fact. But you guys just played with one of our good friends from the show in Ashes Rain.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
hit Vinny up. I said, "Dude, those guys are fucking killer, dude. We're interviewing them next week." He said, "Oh, that's going to be great." So, but
oh, that's awesome. You guys know
he
Ashes Rain. Freaking awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah
they were great. They were
Yeah.
great.
yeah. Vinny spoke high, of you guys, man. He did. He's like, man, those guys are killer, dude. I said, yeah. I said, I can't wait to talk to him because I was like, man, that album's just blowed me away, dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It took a lot of work and a lot of effort and love and everything, man. We put a lot in that album, so
yeah,
So I
man.
know you
I'm glad people
guys.
like it.
I know
Yeah.
you. So I know you guys have been like involved in music before this. So how did this all kind of come together as a project?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of started a band like back in 2007. We continued with it until like a few years ago, which we had so many changes in the band that we were like, you know what? I 13 got in the band, so we are like, maybe it's time to rethink everything. And since there's been so many changes in the band, maybe we should start a band that has 13 as a founding member, and we all founding members, and we start from here. So that's pretty much how Wheel Rise came up to be.
Yep,
So it just kind of like a hard reset, more or less.
pretty much, man. Yeah, it was kind of just
Kind
hard
of very
reset,
hard reset.
hard, just rebrand everything. Sometimes, which is it's scary to do, and I tell people, man, it's not easy to have something that you've been working on and you've been trying to build up and say it's just not something's not right there to get to that next level and to finish what we're trying to do. So we had to kind of tear it all down, man, and say fuck it, from the foundation all the way, to the roots and fucking rip it all out and say we're starting this fresh again and new
Yeah.
perspective on everything, new logos. We just didn't want to have anything. It's all new. It's all new for all of us. We're all seasoned in our own ways. We all play with different bands, and been doing music for I don't want to date us all, but we've all been doing music for 20 years, or more. Which is really weird because I'm only like 21, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're from the
We-
Chuck Norris school of heavy metal. You came out with a fucking guitar in your hand.
Yeah.
Came out with a first record already.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's working in there. Came out like here's the USB guys. Download that shit.
Yeah, who knew acoustics were so good in a uterus?
Yeah.
Trying to do all my vocal track.
I started with
Fucking uterus.
Uh, he's
Yeah,
like most babies come out
it's always
crying.
tough.
Most babies
It's always
most
go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah,
man.
go ahead.
No,
I
I
was
was
just
just
gonna say
saying it's always
most babies
tough
come.
when you have a something you've been working on for so many years, and then you just have to say, you know what, guys, it's time to refresh, it's time to rebrand, and it's you know, I'm the late bloomer in this group, so I want to these guys have been going long before me, so I have to. There's a lot of respect there I mean, these guys got freaking the old band logo tattooed on them, so it's like
Oh
that's
wow, yeah.
serious, and it's if you got
Oh,
that,
see, there you go.
yeah, I mean that's
There you
Nice.
go.
yeah, if you've got tattoos of it on you, it takes a
I
lot to change
mean,
it.
Oh, well,
you can go more branding than that. There's no way I can rip up a piece of my arm or Jerry a piece of his
right.
leg. So
Yeah, so
Well, I mean, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it.
uh,
you just gotta get another tattoo now. That's all. Get
Yep.
another
I
one,
feel I feel like if you've got tattoos of a band of your band on your arm, that's pretty much confidence in what you're doing, though, man.
Yeah, right?
That's pretty
The
that's
thing
well,
is,
pretty bold stuff. So
yeah, man.
I also had confidence that it was supposed to be lasting forever, but
Well,
well,
here's the funny thing though is I mean you guys made music with another project that music will last forever. That's the thing. it's
Right.
out there.
Oh yeah.
If it's out there,
We
it's out there
we
forever.
we had an album with them with that formation, but you
Right.
know,
There's a record out with it and stuff. And like I said, like that's why I didn't regret tattooing it ever, and I still don't because that's always going to be a part. Like you said, that's always going to be a part of our
yeah,
life. That's always going to be. That's
Right.
something that we worked on. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into that. We're not. I'm not downplaying what we did. Because, at the time, and that was just, that was it for us. That's what
yeah.
I believe in those songs as well. The lyrics and the music, everything. I still believe in that in those tracks. But
Mm-hmm.
it just happened to be that it was time. It was
Yeah.
time for a rebranding. It was time for something new. It's kind of just got to that point where it just was, just wasn't. We felt like that's just as far as we could get with it for some reason. We felt we're pushing, and it just only got
Correct.
far. So we was like, you know what, that's it, man. It's time. It's time for
Yeah.
something
And
different.
if you compare our old music to our new music, like they could be some similarities,
Sure.
but it's a different thing.
Yeah,
It's something different.
Well, I mean, at least you guys had the wherewithal to realize that that you had hit the proverbial wall. Maybe you guys, like you said, you could feel it, and it's like, all right, something's got to change, and it sometimes you just have to do that in life. I mean, whether it's
Yeah.
moving to a new city, new job, whatever. So I mean, you guys were able to reverse course, or and and here we are. So
Yeah.
yeah. It's like being in a relationship, and we just. So at one point you got to say, hey man, it wasn't. We're not going to get any further in this relationship.
sure,
And it's not that we didn't love the music, we didn't love the people, or it's the whole thing. It's just sometimes you got to take that say it's not working, and be
yeah,
honest to
Mhm.
yourself about it, and say it's time to destroy this and start again and start something fresh, and and I'm glad we did, man. It was hard. I'm not gonna lie. At the beginning, I was stubborn and shit about it. I was like, fuck that, you know. But then
It took us a little bit to like freaking
it
like
took a while.
go
As,
that
as,
jumped into the water.
as we looked further onto it, I started getting more the idea of yes, this needs to happen, and that's kind of where the album cover comes in. When you look at the album cover, it's this guy basically destroying through all this rubble and shit, and in death, and just trying to still come up out of it. And that's kind of where we were at. We had to destroy everything, put it all on the ground, and start fresh. And it was a painful start, but I'm glad we did it, man. Now we see it all come together. The name of the band now, it means, I don't want to say it means more, but it's kind of more of what we were trying to push, that we wanted to unify people and say it's
sure,
not about dividing people anymore. It's about getting them together so we all rise. And, if one rises, we all rise. And more of that mentality. So, just the whole concept around it just started making more sense. And
Give
it
me
just
one
started.
second, guy. My dog is freaking going
no,
nuts.
you're fine. Yeah, we deal with we deal with dogs plenty. You're fine.
Yeah.
Got to put the dog on the screen. We got to see him. So, then it just started snowballing, and it just started all making sense. And then, it's kind of the same thing. It just started feeling right, and everything just started coming more together. Working with Billy, that's just just kind of solidified everything. And he was one of the ones that was the most supportive out of the whole thing, and just basically pushed us and said, "You guys need to fucking do this. You guys really need to do this change, and it's going to be for the better." And he was the one who really started, kind of opened up our eyes as our producer and said, "You know what, guys, you're in the right track. You need to do this shit. Change it. Fuck
Mhm.
it." And I'm glad we did, man. I really am. Doors are started opening up that weren't open before for us, and it's been great, man. It's been good for us. And now it's time for another tattoo. So,
Yeah.
No,
So, so are you guys? Or do you guys incorporate any of the older songs in your set list when y'all play? Or
that's funny you brought that up. We did the other day. We threw in like two or three of the old ones, and that's why I was telling people, because if we were like, "Fuck, man, what happened? You're not gonna play the old songs." Like, yeah, we wrote those. Those are still our songs. We're promoting
Yeah.
the record and doing stuff, but yeah,
right?
we're mix them into our shit and be like, "Hey, this is off our first record. This is off, another record," and that's it. And just throw them in there, and it's still kind of like it's
Yeah.
still our baby. We're not turning our
hmm
Yeah.
back
We
project
do
either.
we do consider them as covers though.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
And
I got
we'll sue ourselves for
I mean,
plagiarizing,
I
you know.
mean, I mean,
plagiarizing.
technically, at this point, yeah, they would be covers. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
thing is that we had people watching us for like over freaking almost 20 years, you know. So when we come out now, they're like, "Hey, but do you guys used to be?" I'm like, "Yeah, we used to be."
And the whole name change thing is actually that's another reason we did it, because it was kind of haunting us for years. A lot of people, we worked with a couple of other labels that were interested, and the name was fucking us up at some point.
Yeah,
There was, yeah, we love everything, logo, everything's great, but we're like, what's the name? You guys willing to change it? And for a lot of years, said the hell we are. Said fuck no, we're not changing shit. So we stayed stubborn for a long time, and we didn't change the name for a long time. So
yeah.
that's what
That our name was too generic, you know.
at one point, that's why we felt like that. We're fighting for the name, because that's what you do, man. Hey, there's the fucking name of the band. It's what we love. We're keeping it. Fuck you guys. But then it started getting to a point where it's like, damn, not everybody could be wrong.
Yeah,
This record label wants to pick us up, said, man, change the name. Another person
yeah,
comes up, they want to work with the band. They're like, everything's great, but can you change the name? We started realizing, fuck, man, it's we have to be the ones that are wrong here at some point, because,
mhm,
like I say, not the whole world can't be wrong. We're the only ones that are right. So
yeah,
it got to that point that it just, it was time. So
I mean, well, I mean, at least
And what?
again, you were at least being adult about it, and you were able to actually, take a second, and be like you said, all right, are we being, stubborn here? So I mean,
mhm.
yeah. So at least you
I
were
mean, I
able
don't know
to
how adults we
look
were
within.
because we were really pissed about it.
right.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Right, but and then
Well,
again, the good thing was that nobody was fucking with the music or the lyrics. So that's another thing. Like, that's one thing I think that we definitely would have put our foot down if they're like, hey, you got to change these songs. Oh man, you're talking too much. You're doing. We don't like it. A little more poppy. We would have been like, fuck you, we're not doing it. But the songs have
Yeah, I could
never been
understand
like
that.
with the songs have never been compromised. The lyrics have never been compromised. The way we compose the music has never been messed with. Nobody has even questioned that. It was
No,
just the name change. So at that point, it's like, okay, that's it. Now this is what's stopping us. Just the name change. We're still the same people. We're still the same music. Everything is the same. Call us whatever the fuck you want at this point. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right. Yeah.
that's what you want to fucking do. Call it whatever the hell you want, as long as the music's not affected and the message is still there. That's what we care about. The music is there. So yeah, man.
yeah, I don't know if I missed it or not. What was the previous name again?
Revolution.
Yep.
Revolution. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I,
on.
th- I
Yeah.
thought that's what it said on his arm,
Yeah.
but I could,
Yeah, if you look it
yeah,
up,
yeah. There you go. Got it.
we got the pages over Revolution 305. We did a lot
yeah,
with it, and
Revolution was too generic.
that's the problem.
Yeah, but
So
I mean, like
Yeah,
you
it was
saying
nothing else,
that
just revolution.
we get a list. We get a list of stuff every week from the metal heavy metal website called Heavy Metal Music or Heavy Music HQ, and
Yeah.
they have about 50 to 60 albums that release every week on there, just about.
right.
And I could probably go down through there and give you about 20 names that are worse than that. So I don't think very generic in my opinion, but
I know one of my
that's just
buddies'
me. Like
bands.
I see some crazy shit. So
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
our buddies' bands that we played with back in the day, they were called Blowtorch Sodomy. And it's like, they're out there.
I mean, that'll definitely get your attention, and opens yourself up for some very interesting album art.
Yeah. But, so yeah, it was that. A lot of people had problems with, oh man, you're going to run into copyright reasons, even though the logo was copyrighted, everything was copyrighted, but
we
there was a
couldn't
lot of
we
that.
couldn't copyright the name, so
The name cannot be copyrighted. It was just too much. And the thing is that, like, same thing. You go to the YouTube now, you look up Revolution. Shit, we're down the list, man. You'll get a million things before you get to us.
before us.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's the funny
that's
thing is
crazy.
you probably get more war stuff than anything. If you're talking about
yeah,
revolution, you probably get more
yeah.
war stuff than
Start
anything. So
getting
yeah,
off.
I can.
Exactly. you start
I can
getting
kind
all,
You have
all
to
like,
go Revolution Band, and still like, you get a bunch of Revolution Band Miami. You know,
Yeah, I mean, you have
Which
to start being really fucking specific on what you search for. Yeah, I
yeah.
can kind of understand. I can kind of understand that.
you know, so,
kind
you
of
know,
glad you brought that up. I'm kind of glad you brought that up, Chris, because I didn't realize this until I was looking up some pictures to promote for the show. But the We All Rise actually stands for war. So,
Hmm.
that's
Oh
it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we did the
yeah.
separate
So if
logo. That's
you,
why it kind of all made sense. We're like, I guess we started as a revolution, now it's a fucking war. You know,
There you go. Yeah,
right,
there
there
you
you
go.
go.
so
Yeah.
it
That's awesome.
just switched
That's
up,
awesome.
man. You know,
Yep. It's so strange how like the universe kind of aligns with certain shit like that sometimes because you basically just kept the same theme, just changed the name, really.
just changing it. Exactly.
Revolution and We All Rise becomes you can shorten it for
Right.
for branding purposes and all that other stuff. And technically becomes an acronym. It's so it's so weird how it just took a little bit of time to stumble upon it.
Yeah,
So
But
man.
it's just one of those things
I
you.
tell you what though, the process of changing the name and finding a new name,
Oh my God,
d- d- look, man, don't underestimate what that takes
that
because
shit almost
holy
broke the band. Let's put it that way.
I'm sure because I mean like we said earlier I mean Black Sabbath started damn near 60 years ago at this point, and with the amount of bands that have come out since then, I mean finding something, anything that hasn't been used in some form or fashion at some point, the coming up with something original is damn near impossible at this point.
at this point,
It's
yes.
all the
At
cool
this
names
point,
were
yeah,
all the
because
cool names are taken.
oh my God, like you will find a name. Oh, that name is badass. All right, search it. Oh, there's a band in New Zealand that had that name. It had 4 followers, but yeah.
Right. But the thing is, it fucks us up because then, yeah, they only have 4 followers. But now we can't use that Instagram page name because they have it. We can't use the Facebook page because they have it. We have to sit
Right.
there and try and say, hey, you guys want to release it? Take it down. No, man, it wasn't working. So we have to
Yeah.
keep
No.
looking and looking and looking. We even went crazy in our studio. We
Yeah.
have like dry eraser boards. And we started
Yes.
just, okay, everybody think about a cool name of just, or cool
No,
something,
actually, we were thinking a
steel,
cool
metal, whatever, and just start
word.
writing cool words down. And we start doing columns. And fucking like, let's go from column A to column C and see what happens. It's like, does
Yeah.
anyone have that?
Okay, so war in the
And we go crazy to start trying to like fucking make up names by putting all these different words together. And it was just a fucking disaster. We
Yeah, it's
sat
like
there
one of it,
for a long
yeah,
time.
it's like one of those metal band generator fucking memes you see on Facebook.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Except ours kept generating shit that was taken already. I mean, it's like, fuck. We kept going and going and going, and it wouldn't land, man. So it was an
We
uphill
got
battle.
we've kind of talked about this on the show before too. Like our name is kind of like somebody else had that name and was doing a Facebook group too. So what I did was I took the Metalheads and compounded it because nobody did it that way. So that's why it's like it is. And people always ask, well, why is it not separated? Well, that's why it's not separated because that way I'm kind of avoiding conflict with
Yeah.
it. So I mean,
Yeah.
they don't have a patent on it because I've looked it up, but I was going to do a patent on it and be an asshole and be like, hey, you got to change it. But no, I wouldn't. I really wasn't going to do that. I really wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. So they're really not as active as we are, so I wasn't going to mess with them.
No, actually not
But I did
even
want
close.
to. I was looking at a patent on it, and I don't like the patent process or copyright process because a lot of times you'll go in and be like, hey, I want to get this name copyrighted or whatever, and they'll say, oh well, you can pay $700-800 to do that, but we can't guarantee you'll get approved. I'm just like, okay, so I'm just giving you $700-800 for nothing. Like, no, bro, I'm not doing this shit. I'll just take my chances with it, and if I have to change it,
Hey,
I'll just change it at some point. But
Yeah.
I'm not because I'm not. It's not that serious to me. I mean, it is, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like, I take
Yeah.
what I do serious, but the name and all that stuff is not that. It's
Yeah,
not
man.
that big of a
Yeah.
big of a
At
deal.
this
So
at
not
this
not to lose money on. I mean, we're already losing enough money. So
Yeah. Because that's the funny thing. I mean, we're in year 6 of this thing, and we've built this thing from the ground up, and I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not a household name, but I mean, we've got we've got followers all over the world, and that's just one of those things that you know we probably, if you would have told us that when we first started this thing, we were a few years in, and we've got people listening to us, in fucking Europe and Australia and shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And we've got bands who have we've got bands that have come on the show literally from all over the world. And and like I say, just from the two of us doing all of our own promotions and everything, social media and whatever. So I mean, you know, you know, we're an unsigned podcast that interviews a lot of unsigned bands. So
Yeah,
That's
man.
Yeah,
pretty
there you
nice,
go.
though,
Yeah, that's
man.
pretty
you
cool.
know, so but so the people that and hell, I woke up this morning and had another new follower on Instagram. So I mean, we're not bringing in people hand over fist, but I mean, we see we see a steady climb, and that's all we can really ask for.
Yeah.
The people that want to follow us, and the people that take the time, like Hank Hill and our buddy Dana, who watch us every week. I mean, those are the people that we're doing this show for. Guys like you, guys like us, and you know the the,
Yeah,
the
man.
true
Hey,
the true metalheads out there.
hey, man, it's all about, like we say, it's all about connecting with people and connecting. Everybody hears the music, and then they get to talk about some behind stuff. That we don't have time to talk about. We're on stage, obviously, and sometimes even at the stills and stuff. So it's good, man, to kind of let people see the struggles, the ups and downs, all that good stuff. Behind the scenes shit. So it's good to be able to get that out. Man. We appreciate you guys for that, man, for giving us a platform to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
and
that's
and
another
Yes.
reason. That's
Give us the
another reason we
opportunity
did
to,
this too, is
yeah.
because we had people all the time talking about. We hear people all the time talking about, oh, they're in a band, they got it made and shit. I'm like, man, not all
no,
bands are like that. It's like, and that's kind of what we try to do, is like we're trying to keep everything kind of realistic to people and be like, okay, these are how these bands start. You know what I mean? Like they're struggling, they're working 9 to 5s and still trying to do music, and then you
hmm
know
Mhm.
Right.
that kind of
And
thing. So it takes a while to get to that point to where, and like I think today's music scene is a lot different than like the '80s and '90s when Metallica got
Mhm.
signed,
Hundred
or
percent.
Guns N' Roses got signed, and
sure,
you don't have those big labels pushing you like they used
No.
to, because
no,
now they have like 40 and 50 bands on the label, and they don't
Yeah.
have like one or two to pull out
no,
and push
not
like that. So,
not only that. The music scene has changed. It's a business now. You have to be a business, and exactly a perfect example. Back in the '70s, '80s, even into the early '90s, you'd have the record guy or AR come in and be like, "I love you guys. I'm gonna give you $1 million. Let's do a record." And you didn't have to have everything running. Now they look, there's a lot more weight on the band to get this machine up and running and be putting out songs and videos and stuff and kind of already have the ball rolling before they even think
mhm.
about looking at you or investing in you. Before, you could just be a mess. Band just jumped on stage and just happened to be playing in front of the right people, and they
right.
picked up, hey man, this guy, I could invest some money on them. They're going to be great. And the band didn't have to be a business. I think now people don't realize that it's a job. It's a fucking job, man. You have to be answering emails. They expect the bands to do a lot more than before. It's not just
Yes.
get up, drink beer, smoke out, and fucking get on stage and do your shit and walk
Yeah.
away. Now it's a true
And this
business, man. From the beginning to the end, you have to be doing shit. And yeah, obviously, we get help from the label and from our managers and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a professional business. You really have to take it that way. It's not just that rock star attitude of get wasted and blackout drunk and don't know what
Yeah.
happened the next day and just keep it
No.
rolling. And
Even,
everything
even,
works about everything.
yeah. Even for something as simple as like playing live, we practice once a week. Like every week we practice. So like when we have a show, we're ready to play. We're ready to give a good show because we know the songs. We have been practicing them. It's not like a lot of bands that they get together or they hear a tape and then during the show is when they get together, or
Right.
we actually practice. So we invest the time. So it's a lot of stuff. Time, investment, money, all kinds of stuff.
Well, and
I never
thankfully,
thought
thankfully,
about
you guys are really close to each other too. So
yeah. I never thought about this until Gary just said that, but I always now that I wonder about like maybe the hair metal scene kind of did that to record labels because they jumped on every poison looking band that there was
Hmm.
back then and gave them a contract and then
Yeah.
it fizzled out so quick
Well,
that they
they
probably lost a lot
flooded
of
the
money.
market.
So
It's
Yeah, they flooded
exactly,
the
yeah.
market, and that's what happened. And they flooded the market so much that a little kid from Seattle came out and said, "Oh, he's not even wearing hairspray." Oh, Nirvana.
He
Yeah,
don't
but
even bathe. He don't even bathe. Look at him.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you're also forgetting a big part of that too. We're talking about the pre-internet world, right?
yeah,
True,
So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, you
that,
are.
and look, now it's but before you has to in order to produce a quality recording, a record, whatever, you had to be backed by a label that would put you into a professional studio.
yeah,
Now, with the equipment, everybody could record a professional sounding record in their bedroom,
Hmm. Oh yeah.
and
yeah,
you can put
Yeah.
it out on your own, and it's just it's a completely different world now. So,
yeah.
that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, though,
That is
well,
true.
it's
Yeah.
funny that you talked about that because I mean, we talked about Ash's Rain earlier in the show. I mean, Vinny and Ryan, I mean, they have all the expertise to do that.
Yep.
right.
I
See,
mean, the first time we talked to Vinny was like, "Yeah, back here, I got my this, I got my that, I got this." So he was, we were talking with Vinny. He's like, "Yeah, I got all my shit just right back here." So I mean,
Well,
yeah, yeah,
and it's kind of a smart thing that they do because he was talking about how they'll record stuff there and
Right.
see what it sounds like before they go to the studio because he said then once we go to the studio we're only paying for that couple of days
Yeah.
instead of
yeah,
having to pay for like weeks at a time, so it's
yeah.
cheaper.
correct.
That's
And that's another thing that is different now. Like back in the day, the band will go in the studio and compose the album, write the album in the studio.
Oh yeah, they'll
Right,
like
exactly.
live there
Yeah,
for
that's true.
months. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So see, now it's like we have to have the songs done, rehearsed, and everything when we get to the studio because like, okay, well, what do you mean you don't got that part? You have to have it, like
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Now
So I
you
think what
now
we
you,
do,
now you
we practice with the metronome. Even every week we have the drums. Everybody he's tuned in, got that metronome rolling. We never practice without him being on the metronome, so that saves us time in the studio. Instead of having a guy who never listened to it and starts trying to do that shit in studio time, that's what kills people. It's
Yeah.
like you
yeah,
have to practice. You have to have do your shit. If not, you're gonna get killed in the studio, and you're gonna frustrate people, and you're also just gonna eat up into your budget. So
mm,
yeah, and it's important. That's why we get together exactly once a week. We have our little recording setup. We record ourselves, and just for new music too. We're working on the new record already now. We're
yeah,
starting to make
oh
the new
nice.
song for the next one.
yeah,
We're not planning on stopping anytime soon. So it's like just because we got this one out doesn't mean we're not working on the next one. So we're already starting to test the next one out and start working on that. So once this one
yeah.
gets the traction, boom, next one's coming out.
Mm.
And just really want to keep this ball rolling.
Well, that's
I think from a I
actually
think
that. Well, go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
I was just saying I think from a fan perspective where you get a lot more music now than you used to because of what he was saying with the internet and all the
Yeah, that's
Spotify's and all this
Correct.
other stuff because
yeah, that's where
because
I was going.
you're almost having continuously having to do stuff to get any traction because
Yeah.
everything and plus we've talked about this before, man, the attention span is so short nowadays. It's like
Yeah,
it's
Absolutely.
like we'll talk about this in 6 months and they're like that album came out. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, dude, we've been
But
talking
but
about it for
that, but
6 months.
that's how the industry that's how the industry it's manipulating you, because I remember when TikTok and all that shit came out, I was like, man, a 20-second video, what the fucking I'm looking at it? It's like 20 seconds. But now I'm used to it. So like I see something that's more than 20 seconds. It's like, what is this taking so long? You
My
know?
wife says
Yeah.
that too. So
Right? Whereas when it started, it's like 20-second
Hey,
videos.
I'll be here
Well,
all night.
yeah,
yeah. What can you
Yeah,
convey
man. I
in
mean,
20 seconds? Like,
don't you remember back in the day? We talk about this '80s and '90s and whatever, but if you remember, it was normal for bands to go on that cycle where they wouldn't we didn't have a record for say 2 or 3 years in between or whatever, and it
Hmm.
was
yeah,
totally normal to do that cycle. Right, record tour cycle, and every 2 or 3 years you'd have a new record. But I mean, that just doesn't fly anymore. I mean, you can't
yeah,
go. People aren't going to wait 2 to 3 years for you to put out new material, and that's why we don't you remember back in the day we used to like go in line and wait for that full length record
Oh
release. We
yeah,
were anticipating it for so long, and now it's like, could you imagine waiting for your favorite band to put out, in 3 years to put out another record? I mean, that's just not how it works anymore.
Yeah,
Like
it's not.
that's why you're seeing everybody put out one song at a time. You're putting out one single. You're putting out this and that because you have to put stuff out regularly, or you get forgotten so easily.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
and not only that, but you have to have if you can't put out a record without having a music video to go with it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
all these things that are just so different than how it was when we
Well,
were coming up.
and it's just not small bands either, because I mean we were just talking the other day where Testament was talking about they already have songs for another 9 songs into another album. And they just had an album last year, so it's like
Yeah.
it's not just smaller bands doing it either. It's
Yep.
some of the bigger name bands are doing it too. I mean,
Right.
everybody's not a Metallica or a Tool or something that can wait 13 years to put something out. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I
you're
was
not
saying,
sitting on $300 million bankroll.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I always said that the days of those kinds of bands, the Metallicas and all the big bands out there,
Oh, yeah,
the
that's-
days of
that's
that's
over.
gone. You're not going to see
Yeah.
anything like that
Yes.
again.
Oh, well,
Nope.
definitely the way they operated for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the
And
just
especially now
being
that,
able to
like,
do it that way.
it's so rare to have a show with headliners. Now it's mostly like festivals.
Hmm.
That's
A lot
true.
of bands don't just go out and tour by themselves. They just go tour festivals. And
Yeah, tours by and large,
Well, there's so many of them.
the tours are that well, that's true too. But I mean, the tours are getting, they are getting shorter. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
The full blown tours where it's like, hey, we got, because Testament, Destruction, and Overkill, they're the Thrash of the Titans tour just started. Shit, what? I think it was this week because I remember seeing Schmear on Facebook, and he was like, "We're in America, we're in Seattle." So I mean, I think that tour actually just started this week, but it's not going to be like a super long tour. But the full blown, honest to goodness, classic tours, 3-4
yeah,
bands. Yeah, those tours are getting shorter. Because Joel, like you were just talking about, when festival season starts,
yeah,
that's where everyone is going. Oh,
yeah,
well, to be more specific, over here, it seems like European tours are still just as long as they used to be, which is so European tours don't seem to really be affected that much. But at the same time, the cool thing is, geography wise, is you can do a full blown tour in Europe and have those festivals just be one of the stops on the tour.
yes,
Because
yes.
you can,
A lot of bands do that. I seen.
yeah,
Yeah,
because Europe is, when you compare Europe to the United States, it's a lot more compact. So if you're going around Europe and you're going through Germany, well, it's like, we'll just do Wacken while we're here, and then we'll just keep going, and then we'll do Hellfest when we get here. And so I mean, over in Europe, you can incorporate your festival dates in with your regular tour
and
run.
we just regular.
it,
Yeah,
it, it's harder to do that here. So basically, you do a tour here, but like a festival is either going to start your tour, or it's going to, like, it's going to be
yeah,
one of the bookends on your tour. You're either going to start at Louder Than Life, you're going to end at Louder Than Life, or Incarceration, or Sonic Temple, or
yeah.
whatever. So
Rockville or whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
Rockville, yeah.
I think
so yeah,
also
they're
too, it's just like the industry, people putting the money behind it too. They figure instead of putting money behind these bands touring and going all over the place, they're trying to make the fans come to the band, not the band go to the fans. That's
yeah,
kind of the old mentality was, we got to take the band and go to all these cities and all these states and just go all around, take our music everywhere. Now they're kind of like, let's not invest that much. Put all these bands in one festival, make everybody come to Rockville, and that's it. We don't got to tour all of Florida or all of this or whatever, like this one place. And I think they're kind of changing because for them, logistically, it's better to just say, instead of going on these long runs, they're like, yeah, we just do this festival, everybody comes to us. We go to the other place, do the festival, everybody comes to us. And it's kind of not, I guess it's better for them in the money-wise and staying away from their day life. So, I don't know, it just seems like here that the long tours are definitely,
yeah,
I think, the past,
yeah. I think on the
yeah.
bus for
We
sure.
We've actually done that before, though. I mean, if we got like a band we want to go see or whatever, and then they don't happen to come to Nashville, they'll go to Atlanta or Birmingham or Louisville or
Yeah.
something like that, where it's
Yeah,
a
we
driving distance. We usually go and we'll drive that far to go see them. So I mean,
Right.
yeah.
it makes sense, I guess. To people's always like, well, why don't they come through my town? Well, I mean, probably availability of the venues or something on certain dates. I mean, you don't see that anymore. Used to you see a band like say they'd be on like he's talking about like a 3 month track, of
Right.
touring, and then they would go like Nashville in April, and then somewhere in May, and then be back in Tennessee and like on the end of the tour and like cut back through
Yeah.
Memphis and Chattanooga or something. So it's
Yeah.
like they couldn't line it up at the first end, but they could on the back end. So they'll just say, well, we just hit it on the way back. So
Right.
so it's kind of like they go across and come back, but it's like they don't do that stuff anymore. It's like it's up a coast or down a coast or across, and then
So,
it's kind of like
Right.
that. So,
just look at the old, like from the 80s and stuff, the tour dates, they were a year. The people would be
right,
on the
yeah.
road. They'll be on the road a whole year, like
Oh, yeah.
nonstop.
Yeah.
So tours are brutal. We've been on the road for months and months and months, and we're going on a year and something now, and starting now the Europe one, 2 weeks off and going to Europe and doing a year there, and it's like, why the hell was it taking so long? But they were going to every fucking city and just kind of
Yeah,
trying to hit
they
man
were.
faces as they could. So I think now they're shortened it. They said we're not going to keep the band, and I think that also it puts a strain on the bands. At the end of the day, it's a fucking job too. They're working, and all this load and unload and staying on the road for a year is not tough. It's tough. So
Yeah.
I think it's one
Imagine
of the reasons.
at one time, Metallica did that. Was on tour for like 4 years or something back in
Yeah.
during the Black Album.
Oh, I mean,
It's like
they
Jesus
were-
Oh my God.
Christ.
I mean, they just
Yeah.
they just never seemed to be off the road. I mean, back then, it's just like Jesus Christ.
Right, man.
I mean,
Yeah,
plus,
but
I mean,
bands like Metallica, they could afford because they stay in
Right.
hotels and all kind of stuff.
yeah,
A
They
regular
don't have
band
to
will
stay on the
stay in the
bus.
vans and like they can't do nobody could pull a year
Yeah,
or
that,
2
that
years
was that,
tour,
that was the most epic thing. I don't think I've ever seen a band tour an album for 4 years. It was the Black
Yeah.
Album tour was crazy.
Yeah, that was It wound up going into like the live shit stuff just because of that. They had so much material recorded from being on live for 4 years. It's like,
Yeah.
let's put it on a video and box set it.
Yeah.
Or, they
make
got some
make
pretty-
more money off of it. Yeah,
yeah, they got some pretty good PR people working for them back then. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. I remember
So-
when the box set came out, it was like a little box that said, which I was like, oh my god.
I had it,
Oh,
dude. I had it.
yep,
Oh, shit.
yep.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got one. Look, he's gonna go get it.
He's got
He's
it.
gonna
Oh,
go
yeah.
get it. He's still got it.
Oh yeah.
I gotta see that.
I've still got
man.
like I still have the videotapes and the cassettes because that was the version I had. But the box itself fucking fell apart.
It's a little broke, but there you go.
The box itself.
There it
Oh
is.
yeah.
Yes,
There it
that's
is.
it.
Oh
They
yeah.
got everything in there. So
Hell yeah.
Oh,
VHS.
VHS and VHS and cassettes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That shit's old.
You didn't get the CDs, huh? I had the CDs.
Uh-huh.
No, I got the cassette. Yeah.
The
That's
cassette,
the one I have.
yeah.
Tapes.
Yeah.
But man,
Cassettes are back, man.
but not for nothing. How cool is that, man? I think that's one of the things that they're trying to bring back now with the records and stuff. That we lost for a couple of years here with everything being so digital. It's like nobody wants to have anything physical anymore. And that's a fucking cool ass shit, man. I used to always enjoy that, getting the records or the tapes and opening it up and saying, "Let me read these fucking lyrics, let me see the artwork." And you just felt like you had a piece of the music with you,
Right.
So I think
did.
it's
Back
cool
then
they're
you
bringing
did.
it back,
Back then you did. You don't do anymore. Because anything that you have, you don't own it. It's on the Spotify or whatever it is. And once you stop paying the subscription, that's it. All your songs are gone. So you don't know shit.
I still like being a hard
Oh,
copy
of
guy. I
course,
like
of
having,
course,
Me
I
too.
like having it in hand, man. Like,
Me too.
you know,
We
whether
were
it's a
talking.
record or CD or whatever.
Yeah, we were talking about this. We were talking about this very same thing last week with Matt from As We Suffer. The exact same
Yep.
thing, because we were talking about their album art and everything else, and talking about how, it thankfully, the visual aspect of it is starting to make a comeback, and people are starting to kind of re-embrace. Okay, it's not just the music now. It's it's coming back to the and especially with us, we still focus on that to this day. It's one of the things we talk about on our year in review show. We make sure to talk about our favorite album art, because to us it's still just as much visual as it is, in our
Right.
it's in our eyes, and
Yeah.
in as much as it is in our ears,
Especially if you
so
have like an album or something, it's also tactile and everything, and you
exactly.
open it, you smell the brand new album.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
So,
a
all. I
whole
mean,
let me
experience.
ask you this, because you guys interview a lot of bands. So, what are you seeing from all these other guys? Are they still making physical CDs and records and all that stuff? Like, you
yes.
Yeah.
still seeing that?
Yeah, every band that we've interviewed, they're still they're still making sure that physical media is available.
Good.
Some bands have been able to do. Some people have been able to do more than others, of course, and some of our former guests have been able to be on a little bit more of an accelerated timeline on others, because I'm sure you guys know that it's not just printing up vinyl is not easy,
Hmm.
and especially nowadays, it's not as the actual manufacturers for vinyl, they're not everywhere like they used to be too. So, but there hasn't been a band that we've interviewed yet that hasn't either had the physical media already or had plans to. So
Okay.
none of the bands that we've abandoned or that we've interviewed have abandoned physical media, and that and that definitely means something, because we have interviewed bands that have literally have teenagers in them. So I mean,
Hmm.
talking about, I mean, kids who were
Oh, that's
born,
true. Yeah.
you know, with a
Visual.
two,
That's a
with a
good point.
two, yeah, born with a two in front of their birthday. So I mean, even these kids, in these bands that are coming up, they still know it's like, hey, it's still something that needs to be available.
That's interesting.
So
So it's not just us from the 1900s, right? Like,
right,
it's,
exactly, yeah,
1900s.
exactly, yeah. So I mean, so it's still something that these bands, no matter how young, are still cognizant of, and that's good, because you know, I I do think that, are we ever going to get back to it was in the 80s and 90s, where you can walk into a Tower Records and just flip through
I
albums, and
wish,
I
man.
don't
That
think
was
it's
so
ever.
much fun.
Yeah, it was, and I don't think it's ever going to get back to that. But
No.
the fact that the fact that, and you can see it, because I mean, we have a record store here in town where we live, and so the fact that it's still available, and it's slowly incrementally becoming more
Hmm.
available, I
yeah.
Yeah.
think is a good thing. So
No, that's
the
really
so
interesting.
so
I didn't. That's a good point about the younger generation, though. It's interesting to hear that bands in their teens and 20s are still making physical copies. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a
I
good
think I
thing,
think there's
because they're still they still know that, hey, we have to have an album cover. We still have to have something visually that people can correlate to. Hey, this is this band and this is this band. So I mean, they're still aware of the fact that it's not just what the music sounds like. It's like, what do we also look like as a band?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. It
I
helps
think
put the whole
it's like
thing together, you know.
yeah, something that amazed me was we had a band on a show. I guess it's been a few years ago now, called Hex, and they were from Germany, right? Were they
Sweden,
from Germany?
Sweden.
Sweden. Okay, Sweden. I know it was somewhere over there, but they
Yeah.
they had several different like artworks and records for their album that year, which was kind of amazing to me. That I think was that just their second album, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yes, yes. When we
Yeah.
interviewed them,
So
they were on their second
having a
album.
yeah, so having a sophomore album and you're already making like different versions of a record is pretty amazing to me.
Wow.
For them to be able to do that, that's pretty
And
crazy.
they
But
and they actually had different their vinyl. They actually had special editions of their vinyl, and so
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jason has one. I got one for him as a gift. I got him one, and it was I can't remember how many units that particular color was, but I think it was like, maybe it'd been 500. But I was able to get one for him. So I mean, just a band on their second album. Of course, they are not a young band. I mean, they're not an old band, but I mean,
Right.
they're not a younger band. They're not in their 20s or anything. But so they're a little bit further along in their careers in music in general. But but yeah, they were aware. It was like, hey, let's if we can do this, let's do 500 of this. And, hey, little, what's up, little man? But
That's the, that's the real singer of the band right there.
Real
Yeah.
singer. He's in charge of all the howls.
that's
All
right.
the, all,
Right.
all the growls that you heard, those are where the growls were coming from.
Yeah. Real dog.
Well, since you brought that up,
Yeah,
yes, I'm
speaking
going to
of
ask
which,
you what your like influences were as far as vocals. Did you have anybody you kind of lean toward or to try to feed off
I,
of? Or?
I think you hit it right on the head, man. Obviously I'm a big Caballero fan. Pantera. Phil. I love me some Alice in Chains. I'm a big '90s guy. I love all those. A lot of emphasis from the '90s. '90s bands. I think it was just a great time for music, and I just kind of got stuck in that, man. So for me, it's pretty much those are my vocal influences right there.
well, I
I
mean,
was just
you
kind
could,
of wondering how close I was from what I heard and what you kind of
Oh yeah,
fed
man.
off of. So
yeah.
yeah, so I definitely kind of felt like it was an older Sepultura Cavalera or a kind of a Soulfly Cavalera.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to be specific since he's in like 8 projects. But,
Yeah, you do have to. When it comes to you gotta narrow it down with Max. Yeah.
Sounds like nail bomb. You're like, no.
Yeah, right. Yeah, nail bomb. Yeah,
No nail bomb.
you don't hear
not
you don't hear
not
that name.
just,
You don't hear that one a lot. So
yeah, not just his bands, but he's also done like collaborations with everybody in the world. So
Pretty much.
that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Pretty much. Yeah, we actually interviewed his stepson last year, and it was nice to be able to talk to
Richie,
him too.
yeah.
So yeah, we got to talk to Richie. So
And yeah, but let me tell you, they're doing good, man. And not for nothing, I'm glad you brought them up because he has paved his own way, man. He's not
Yeah.
fucking taking any handouts.
No, he's not.
It's very easy for a person in his position to be like, you know who my dad is?
yeah,
Dad,
he
put me on
doesn't.
fucking shows, put me on all these fucking festivals, stop playing
He
around,
doesn't.
open fucking doors. He's
Yeah.
fucking doing it like we're doing it, just from nothing. Like if he actually, when they started out, nobody really even knew that they were related. The only reason people started kind of getting was like, is he really fucking a Cavalier? It just kind of started then, like, okay. But even then, you could tell they don't use it at all. He
No,
doesn't
they
play
don't.
any of the festivals that Soulfly or any of them play. He's making his own crowd, making his own stuff, and just really like trying to make a name for himself and his band as an individual. Like if they had they're not taking any handouts, man. And I respect that a lot, man, because it's real easy to be desperate to get your music out there and just to be like, fuck it, man, I want to play the huge shows. I want, I saw, growing up, I see this is what he's doing. Fuck, I want to do that, and just go right to the top. And he hasn't done that, man. He's fucking touring.
Mm-hmm.
They're stuck in a small fucking van, lugging their shit around. Doing it the old school way, man. So I got a lot of respect for them, bro. I really do, man. And the music.
he actually brought up something. He brought up something that you guys kind of like said about earlier. You guys have been doing this for like 20 years or whatever, and then like he was talking about how he'd been around for about that long, and just now feels like the band is clicking on all cylinders where
Finally
it needs
has,
to be.
yeah.
And I feel like that's like a magic number for some reason because like a lot of
Like, yeah,
bands that
like
we
the-
listen to and talk to, that 20-year mark, it seems like boom, everything just kind of
Yeah.
flows and hits at once, and it's like, man, these guys are on fire, and it's like I
Yeah.
feel like that with a lot of bands, even like some of the bigger known bands. I feel like, man, like this, it's hard to have an album, to come out like today, and you've been doing stuff for 20 years and be like, man, it's the best shit they put out. It's hard to do because a lot of people's, if you go back to like when we grew up, that first record was hard to follow. You know what I mean? Like a lot of
Yeah.
like Skid Row and people like that, like they put out that first record, and you're like, man, how are they going to top that?
But those were the lucky ones though, because a lot of bands
Right.
started like White Zombie, the Chili Peppers. They had Pantera. They have like 4 or 5 albums before anybody noticed them.
Yep.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Pantera Pantera sonically had to do basically a 180 before
Yeah.
they finally made it.
Right.
If
Yeah.
they would, if
Yeah.
they wouldn't have made that U-turn, who knows what would have happened with Pantera? So, I
Correct,
mean,
yeah.
they had to do.
Well, it's
You
faded away.
talk about doing an about face. Pantera did an
Yeah.
about face.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. And I'm glad you brought them up too, because one of the philosophies that you always heard them talking about, that I always appreciated, was that mentality of every album's got to be better than the next. And
Yeah.
we've always kind of adopted that mentality of, that's why we're working on the next one now, because we don't want to be we're one trick pony, this is it. That was it, this is what you're going to get. This is our best album ever. You're never going to get anything better than this. If we do anything else, it's going to be whatever. No, we want to just keep pushing it and just making, this album, we love it. It was great, but we wanted the challenge of saying, the next one's got to be fucking heavier. It's got to be better.
heavier,
And the next
faster,
one
and
is going to be fucking
everything.
better
Yeah.
than the next one. And I always appreciated that mentality that they hit forth on the studio saying, we're going to be better. We're not tiring down. We're going to make the next one better than the next one. And
We're
that's
not
kind of what
recycling
we're trying to do.
riffs. There's bands that say, "Oh, I heard that riff on another song of them." Like, yeah, you know.
Well, I think
Well,
like,
that definitely doesn't.
coming back to
I'm not
going back
talking
to that.
about
I think
Megadeth, by the way.
yeah. I think like going back to that, I think it's kind of where we are in today's music industry is everybody wants to make one better. Back then it's like if you go back then and you're like, oh well, what do you think Guns N' Roses' best record was? 90% of the people's going to say Appetite for Destruction. Even though they made 4 or 5 records after that,
Yeah.
nobody's like. And I think the thing is now it's harder to do is when I just seen this on another post the other day on Facebook was, what album can you play front to back and never miss a beat? It's like I think that's like the go-to thing now is like, hey. A lot of bands are getting back to that mentality, going, "Hey, I want to make a record where nobody wants to fucking hit next."
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think that's
No, go ahead. That's
no. I was just saying, I think that's the go. Yeah.
no. That's something that's, again, back to the old school mentality. That's what we used to do growing up in the '90s and stuff, man. I tell people sometimes like, I don't even know some of the songs in the record because I would just fucking put the thing on and hear the whole thing. To me, it wasn't like, what was the name of that song? I was like, I don't fucking know. I hear the whole record.
Like, song number 3, I think, is my
Right.
favorite.
I didn't skip through songs. Like, oh no, this is a song I want to hear. I think now that's what happens. There's a lot of fillers in a lot of people's albums, and they just have 1 or 2 good ones. And yeah, man, that's kind of what we wanted to also. That's why also on ours, the songs are, I don't want to say short, but we did, kind of trim down a little bit on the songs, so you're able to have that attention span. If you look, each song is 3 minutes. Our longest one on the record, I think, is like 350 maybe. But we try to keep it like that, so you're not gonna, you can hear the whole album. Whole album's 30 minutes, and you can get that.
Y'all got a 4 minute. Yeah, y'all got a 4 minute and 22-second song on there.
Oh my lord, 422. Jesus Christ!
I know.
Way too long,
Gonna
man.
need it.
That's-
Gonna need
that's
a
what
nap to
song
get through
doesn't
that song.
exist.
God damn.
The miracle that one made it to the record.
Yeah.
Which song is it, though?
I'd rather die.
I'd
Oh,
rather die.
shit.
Yeah, because that one has a lot of solo work on it. A lot of the
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
intros and stuff, and yeah, man.
Yeah,
But
it
maybe-
had a lot
we were gonna-
of guitar gymnastics from Mr. 13.
Yeah, we were gonna get to that at some point. So might as well just go on over there now. So it's like,
All right.
yeah, so yeah, it was definitely one of the things that I pointed out was a lot of the lead-ins to some of the songs before any of the other instruments hit, and then a lot of the solos in there I thought were pretty awesome. So definitely hats off to 13 for those, man.
Yeah.
It was like I said, we have really been talking to some bands like when we listen to these records, we're like, man, these guitarists are becoming fucking amazing. Like some of the it's like when you say like they can say metal's dead or whatever they want to say,
No.
man, but obviously they're not listening to the same shit we're
Fucking
listening to
wrong.
because like some
That is
of
such
these
a
bands
bad
like
take.
we had another band like last year, Jet Jaguar from
Jaguar.
Mexico was
My
like,
God.
yeah, dude, that I can't remember what was his name. I can't remember his name now, but the guitarist for that band,
Akira?
like I said, like a lot of these, I can't remember. Like a lot of
Hang
the
on.
bands
I'll
that
look it up.
are we listening to and coming up, and like 13's like right in that category, man. Where we're just like, dude, this dude is fucking on fire, dude. Like he's killing it.
It was
And-
it was
Look at his
his,
hair. He's on fire, man.
yeah, his
Yeah.
yeah. That is some red hair. But
Yeah, man.
my daughter would be jealous of your red hair. She likes to do that. Her hair's never been that red. But
Process, bro. It's process.
no, I've seen her do it. It's like Jesus. I wouldn't have the patience. It's a bit, but
Take some work.
But yeah, But Jason, it was Ariuki. That was his name.
Yeah. Ariyuki. Yeah.
But hell, there's a band that we've become really good friends with, and they're a local band here from Nashville, and they're a symphonic metal band called Valkyrie's Fire, and their
Oh
guitarist
yeah,
Joey. That guy is out of his goddamn mind. The way he plays guitar, it's ridiculous.
You have to be for metal, bro.
Yeah, in the best way, of course. But I mean, and that's one of the things that kind of impressed me about listening to the album when I was listening to it from you guys is the fact that 13 is doing all this shit by himself.
Yeah.
Right.
It's bonkers. Just the
That is true,
compositions
yeah.
and everything.
No dual guitars. So.
Yeah. So, and nothing against a twin guitar attack, of course, because Maiden and Priest. I mean, that's what we grew up on. We grew up on the dual guitar attack and everything else. So, I mean, obviously, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a great formula, but it's also a testament, 13 to the ability that you have. Be like, I can do all this by myself. So I mean, so it's kind of a good situation to be in because I mean, to be able to compose and play like that and only have to have you got a bass, drums, guitar, vocalist. I mean you got everything you need in a smaller package, and you build that chemistry between the four of you, and of course the more personalities you have in a band at the same time, by law of averages, it just means, the greater chance of at some point we're going to butt heads about something. So now also don't have to worry about that. So you can't argue with the results, and then you got the chemistry. So it's like, hey, this is all we need. We've got everything we need right here and more. So
Yeah, it's really interesting you bring that up because it's a one guitar band versus a two guitar band. It's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you want to talk about, and you talk about personality. There's so much to this conversation, but I could go on about this for an hour. But it's on the personality side, like you already mentioned. You add a second guitar into the mix. Yeah, you got now you got two guys playing the same instrument, maybe different parts, but it's not like a bass player or a drummer or whatever. It's a totally different dynamic, and so yeah, could maybe with two guitars, can you do more? Maybe, sure. But it introduces, this is, like I said, this is a whole new different dynamic to how a band functions, and not only how in the studio but also live, right? Because that's having you can do anything in the studio you want. You can put as many guitar tracks in the mix as you want in the studio.
yeah.
But what are you going to do live, right? And how are you going to handle that? Are you gonna do backing tracks? Are you not? There's a whole world there. So, how do you deal with that? And it's a lot. It's, especially when, like I said, how does it translate live? And obviously, it's tough. It's tough, but but at the same time, it's really rewarding at this, as well because and I mean, not every guitar player can play the lead sections, can play the rhythm sections tight enough. I mean, it's just there's so much to this discussion, but yeah, I mean, it's I appreciate you bringing it up, and it's definitely a lot to do for a band that has, because we definitely don't want to abandon the guitar leads, right? There's a lot of bands that have gotten away from doing that, and it's part of the core of what we came up with, and you got to have that part of the music, and it's just I'm a big musicianship kind of guy. I'm a huge fan of all the the real musicians, the guitar players that are just off the charts. Those I love the musicianship side of things, and you have to you don't want to lose that. But being in a one guitar band is definitely a challenge. But
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
rewarding.
I kind of like it because it's the bass and guitar are more prominent, whereas like
I
when
get
they
that.
have two guitars, the bass is a little bit more drowned into the music.
Yeah, we've heard that plenty of
So,
times. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
so
and
I
that's
like,
one of
think
the
that,
things. Like, like I used to play bass, so it's like I always try to like listen for that mainly
mhm,
because I do know how that gets drowned out a lot. So
yeah,
and that's one of the things I brought up when I did the review is I felt like the drumming was really really good, and I kind of felt like that kind of was like the tone setter for everything. But I don't think it was so much to where it didn't give every other instrument a chance to showcase as well.
Hmm.
So it was a pretty even like sound, I guess I should say, where you
Mhm.
heard everything individually,
Yeah.
even though it was a
But
collective, you still could hear it individually in
that-
there,
it
which is
was
a lot of times you don't get to do. So
Yep.
right. That was one of the things that was really important to us when we went into this record. That we wanted that Barry also brought up about the solos, the bluesy feel to it. We felt that a lot of the new records coming out kind of did abandon doing those nice bluesy kind of solos that are ripping through, not just making noise and stuff. Nothing against all that stuff too. I love all the screamo shit and all that, but we wanted that feel of saying that musicianship of that old school solo that just kind of really brings in the song together. And the same thing with the bass. We didn't want to drown out the bass. I always loved songs like, from Helmet and
Right.
shit like that. They just like that bass. We wanted that bass to push through and not get drowned out. And when you hear the whole record, during the whole thing, you could hear the bass
Yep.
prominent, standing out on its own. And that's kind of one of the stuff that we wanted. We wanted everybody to stand on their own, that you could hear it, but yet obviously all come together as one, and it just messes. But we didn't want to get that. We like it felt very important that our bass tone. We sat there in the studio really just working on the actual tone to see what was going to
Yeah.
cut through the
Yeah.
most and just really get in there with the drums. We worked on
Yeah.
different snares. We went changing out the snares, see what was going to really just cut through that thing and make, everything just sound good. And, we really took time into it, man, making sure that all the instruments were at their highest potential that we could get and still keeping that feel, that organic feel to it. The whole thing, no digital stuff. The bass was ran through
Yeah.
no amps and nothing.
Yeah.
That's another thing also in the recording process that we took a lot of pride in. We didn't digitize anything. We did
Yep.
old
Yeah.
school recording. Hey,
Yeah.
Mike,
We
what's that?
recorded the drums. We didn't use sound replacement or
All sound
samples or anything like that.
placement,
Yeah.
none of that. The drums you're hearing there, those are real drums, all mic'd
Yeah.
up in a studio. No drum machine, no extra parts, no cut
No.
and paste. That shit was done. You got it wrong, you play it again. We
Yep.
kind
Yeah.
of really went with that
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
mentality also of like, oh no, that thing is fine. Just start chopping up a million fucking pieces and put it together. No, we went the old school route. Like, you
Yeah.
fuck,
Yeah.
start again. Start the song again, do it fucking again. And
Yeah.
that kind of, kept us in that mentality of, we just got to do it the right, not we're not going to cut and paste it and make it, generic and just put these little pieces together.
Mhm.
No, that whole song is, we're blood, sweat, and tears into it and really fucking running through the song the way you would hear it on stage, and that was kind of
I was just about I was just about to say, if you make that correction as like you said, all right, you missed timing or whatever the error may be, you address it. Then you're also making sure that because you guys say you practice once a week, but if you're in
Yeah.
the studio, I mean, that doesn't mean nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. And
Yeah.
shit's
Right.
gonna happen. But if you address it at the time and you just don't like, all right, well, yeah, you're like, well, we can fix that here, we can fix that. You're also addressing the next potential live performance right then at the same time.
right.
So I mean, because hell, you never know what's gonna happen.
Well, and
Yeah.
the other thing too is like when you're in the studio, you can do anything, right? So it's like it's so tempting, just like okay, well this is verse two. Well we can just it's exactly the same musically as verse one. So let's just take what you played for verse one and just copy and paste it to in the mix. It's just so it's like oh you played it perfect for verse one. Just copy paste it into Pro Tools and be done with it.
Yeah,
It's so tempting to do that, but we did not do that. Like again, we were fortunate to work with an amazing producer in the studio. So, but he didn't he kept us true. Like he didn't let us. He's like no. He's like verse two, you play it. We're doing it again. Like you play it play it again. And so it's like. And so he's like I want there to be slight differences between the exact same thing in the two verses like it keeps it more real and
exactly.
so
Yeah. You
we
can.
didn't
Yeah,
do a lot. We didn't do any copy paste, and yeah, and everything in the studio is mic'd drums. It's mic'd guitar and bass cabinets. Like it's all real stuff. There's no digital anything. It's
yeah.
No studio magic.
there he is.
1984, bitch. Now you have to see
Oh,
this. This is This is the crazy part. Where is it? Right here. I can. There you go. You see that?
Yeah.
That's the tone of the bass.
There you go.
Like 8,000 switches and
They
knobs
don't
in
make
that
these
thing,
things
though.
anymore.
That is old school right there, man.
Oh yeah, 1984.
Hell yeah, dude.
So while we're talking about that, I want to ask, like, Joel, on the song, was it mechanical? Is that the name of the
Yep.
song? I think
Yeah. If it's a
mechanical.
fretless or not,
Yeah, I kind of thought I heard like a little fretless tone at the end of that. So
well, that's for you to wonder.
that's for me to wonder.
I like that. I like that.
Some things are best left to the
That's
imagination. I guess,
that's
so.
that's fantastic. I love
That's so you can just stream the
that.
song over and over again. It's like, let me hear it again. Keep streaming the song.
I
That's
like
one of the
that.
things that glad to have an amazing producer that we had. Some of the songs, we were like play a part and say, "Oh, this part is amazing." We play it 4 times, and he'll be like, "No, play it once." I was like, "But this part is amazing." I was like, "Yeah, but like, what if the people like it?" I said, "Well, if they like it, they play it again."
They'll play the whole song again.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like, you know,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, what he's talking about is trimming songs down, right?
yes,
And not overplaying a specific section that is this is an awesome section. Let's keep going with
yeah,
it. It's like no, let's trim that part down and keep people coming back for more. So that was
That's
his
yeah.
approach. It's like
correct.
oh, if they like that part of the song, don't make the song longer. Just make them play the song again. It's like
Like,
yeah. And
if
Yeah,
you
then
were,
because
they will
that
like
that
fuck with my brain so much, like, but that part is awesome. I
I
want to
I've
know
hear
there
it
was
actually
so
four
many
times.
times where I was
No,
like,
only once.
we need to extend it. Yeah, because I like long songs. I'm a fan of progressive music as
Yeah.
well, and
mhm.
I like the freaking 10, 12, 13 minute long songs and some of the stuff. So it's like I was like, we need to extend the section, make it longer. And he's like, no, not doing it.
Yeah. I have
No,
I
no,
have
no.
it can get out of hand. I have heard it. Yeah, because
Yeah,
a band latches onto one thing, and then whether it's a line in the lyrics or something, and they're you'll know you're at the end of the song, and they keep repeating the same lines, like, all right, end the song already, we get
yeah.
it. So I mean,
Yeah.
so there is a balance that you have to find, because you can take a good part of a song, solo riff, drum
And
line,
just destroy it.
anything.
Yeah.
You can take a good thing and you can beat it to death. You literally can.
Yeah.
right.
I've heard it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. But that's one thing about having a producer is good because it's an separate ear from the band.
Yep.
Because if we play something, the whole band will be like, yeah, 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 that shit is so awesome, amazing, yeah, yeah, yeah. But when you hear somebody else listening to it, it's like, yeah, that's really not that cool. I mean,
Then you got to be like, why do you got to be such a dick about it? God.
Yeah, right.
Well,
but it levels you out, it levels it levels you out
Yeah.
to
no,
play
and
good
you know,
stuff.
and exactly, I'm glad you said, what a fucking dick, because sometimes it's easy to kind of get the defensive and be like, fuck, man, nobody wants to hear the constructive criticism, but
Yeah.
being a good producer and not being a good friend is somebody who tells you the shit you don't want to fucking hear. You're like, hey, man, it's fucking awesome. And they're like, no, it's not, dude. Fucking work on that. Go back and fucking fix
Yeah.
it. So it's kind of that hard love, man. And, Billy really did fucking take us under his wing and work with us, not only in the studio, but out of the studio. People don't realize that even before we even got in there, for months, we were just, like we're doing now, just getting on talks, talking about music, talking about just things so we could all kind of connect and figure out how we were all going to do this together.
Mhm.
And it just, there were times where, hey, let's do this. It's like, fuck no. That hard, strong love, it's like,
Yeah, that hardcore New York, like, no, fuck that.
fuck that. Don't do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, well,
But,
that's the
but
thing, though. That's the thing, though, is like, I mean, if you want an honest opinion, I mean, get a grizzled hardcore band from New York and ask them.
Yep,
They'll
that's
tell
exactly
you.
right, and
You know what I
that's
mean?
how he is, man. He's like in your face. He's not like
Yeah.
he doesn't beat around the bush. He's like, no, he'll tell you straight up, this is it.
he'll say it straight up, man. And I like that about him, man, because it's exactly that. We don't want a piece. He helped push the album to where we wanted it to be. And sometimes you need that extra person to just say exactly that. Hey, man, that take sucks. Whether you thought, hey, man,
Yeah.
that was my best fucking take, man. Well, and I'll give you a perfect example. We were recording hours and hours and hours, and at one point, I'm at the studio. It's like 1 a.m. at this point. I've been doing fucking recording vocals for hours, and I'm working on backing tracks and just like the backing vocals and doing a whole bunch of shit. So I'm at the part of a verse, and he's like, "All right, run the verse. All right, let's start the song." Man, I started out. He didn't even let me get to like 3 seconds of the song. Fucking shut that shit down and go, "You're done." I go, "What the fuck? What do you mean I'm done?" He goes, "I heard it in your voice. You started. You're not with the intensity and the power. You're fucking done tonight." And he fucking cut me. And I was like, let me tell you, that night I was like, "Are you fucking like?" It was like brutal. He was like, "No, fuck that. That take sucks. You need to fucking go home and fucking figure it out and come back strong." And I was so pissed. I left that night. I was like, "This motherfucker just shutting me down." But let me tell you, man, it's exactly what I needed. Because you know what happened? We were all staying at in the same
Yeah.
place.
We
So
were
I was
doing, yeah.
we were staying all in the same house where we're working on the
Yes.
studio. So on top of everything, we have to go back. We're all sitting with Billy. We're all looking at each other. This motherfucker. But it's exactly what I needed because I sat there. I barely slept that night and just fucking thinking about the song and saying, "Man, this motherfucker, I got it tomorrow." Oh man, he wanted more balls, buddy. You're fucking gonna get it. And from that day forward, he never again fucking cut me. But I kind of needed that tough love. Like he saw that I wasn't
Yeah.
what the potential that I should have been at singing. It was under, and he wasn't gonna have that slack. He said, "Fuck no." Even though I thought I could finish that song that night, he said, "Nah, man." He fucking shut it down, and so it's that tough love, but it's also good because it's not all bad. It's not all fucking this sucks, this sucks. It just gives you validation when he did smile ear to ear and say, "Guys, that was fucking tight." It's real. It wasn't hey, it's kind of tight. Good, let's just finish this and go home. It was fucking real. He'll be like, when it sucked, he'll tell you it fucking sucked. But when he liked it and it was fucking what was gonna go on the record, that man will fucking be like, "Yes,
Yeah.
There you go.
that's
Yeah.
up."
Yeah, that's the thing I love about him too, because he's either all or nothing, man.
Yeah.
Right.
He's switched on or off. There's no gray area with him.
There's no gray
Yeah.
area.
Well, that's good
Well,
because
it
then
seems like
you know,
he seems like he's not wasting any of your time or money though. Telling
Right,
you those
yeah.
Oh,
things
no,
too.
no, no.
You think about
Yeah.
it.
No,
So
no, no.
Let me tell you, man. A lot of
he's
people,
like,
everybody knows him as Billy from Biohazard and just the guitar player, singer, songwriter. This man is an amazing producer, and his
Yeah.
work ethic is insane.
Bro,
Yes.
he'll
He
be
was
like
like,
14 hours.
last one out, first one in, last one out. No joke.
Yeah.
We were staying in the same place, so we wake up in the morning and go to the kitchen and get coffee. Guess who's already sitting at the fucking table with the computer out, mastering, mixing, running through the songs, listening to it, see how you can make them better. That man was working non fucking stop, and it
Yeah.
was good because then it helped us also like rise to
Yeah.
the
Be like, oh,
another
we're
level.
eating
Like,
shit, bro. We
fucking
gotta, you
working.
know?
We need to fucking step it up to our highest potential, and he's an amazing guy, amazing producer. He, wealth of knowledge, studio
Yeah.
time knowledge,
Great
just
friend.
everything.
Yeah.
Amazing person all
yeah,
around,
I
and
get,
couldn't have
Yeah.
finished this record without him. One of the things also when we went into this was that I had written some, the chants, what they call like the gang vocals,
gang
some
vocals. Yeah.
parts here and there, and I kind of knew what we wanted, but it wasn't there. And I knew we needed somebody like Billy. I was one of the stuff with Biohazard. I've always
Oh yeah.
thought they're one of the best. Is the fucking gang vocals. The way they're
Oh, yeah.
able to make these chants that everybody wants to sing along with, and you look out in the crowd and everybody's singing those fucking chants.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need, man. And he had such an ability of grabbing our songs and just telling me, "Jerry, this part right here where you said I'm gonna go, that's what we're gonna turn into a chant." And like, fuck, man, he's just a genius. Things
That's the
that
chant.
I
That's the
couldn't
chant. We're
see.
gonna repeat it, and yeah.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna cut this. That's gonna turn into a chant. We're gonna do it right here. And he just has a way of putting him in certain spots that just drive you fucking insane, man. And I'm so proud of that in this record that the gang vocals are awesome. And that's one of the stuff that I really needed from him, and personally that I just really needed his help with getting those gang vocals in there, and he fucking nailed it, man. He went right through it.
Yeah.
so you guys are talking about that relationship, and it kind of like goes back to like I can see now why Billy and Evan was on the Crown song is because
Right.
you guys have had that real tight relationship and with him
Yeah.
and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
I'm glad
Well,
you brought
there's a
that up.
story behind that too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly the same. So what happened there was, again, we were all Billy, all of us were staying on in this house
We
while
will stay in the same house. That's the
we're
yeah.
staying at the same house. So we're all, going to the studio back and forth. And, the whole time we're there, we're, hanging out, just talking shit, shooting the shit, having a good time. And in the studio, just having a good time. Or he just, me and Billy are singing parts together. He's like, fuck, bro, I really miss doing this with my brothers, man. And he just kept, as the days were going by, and he's like, fuck, bro, he goes, the little parts we're doing in the studio, it's like, fuck, man, Biohazard used to do that shit in the studio too. How you guys are doing there? Damn, and he just kept like, I felt like he just kept like feeling the urge to call up Evan. And, we were there at the house one day, he's like, fuck it, I'm calling up
In the
Evan.
morning, yeah.
It's time to talk. And that kind of sparked the whole reunification of Biohazard and them talking. And that was actually,
That's awesome, dude.
so
That is
that's
awesome.
actually the first song that they ever got back into the studio with and recorded together, them and us recording for the first time and actually getting it and igniting back the unification of Biohazard because of that song. And to be honest, Evan was he heard it, saw that Billy wanted to get back into the studio with him, and he said, I'll just do it. There was no,
Yeah.
let me think about it. Oh, what's in it for me? Nothing.
Yeah,
It was just like,
Yeah.
I like them. Yes, there was
Yeah.
no
Or how much they're gonna get paid, or how much? Yeah.
no back and forth. It was just fuck yes, I'm doing it. Gave him the song, did it, came right back, and the rest is fucking history, man. Him and Billy just took off from there, and then they were like, let's just do one show, just to come back and then see how
Yeah.
it goes. And they did the one show at the Milwaukee Metal Fest, and it just
That
from
you
there
guys went, yeah.
they realized that it was like, we're wasting our time here. Whatever happened in the past was in the past, and there's a place for them in music. And they're one of my fucking favorite bands from ever. And just to see them come back now and do it all over again, it's fucking awesome. And then record another brand new record. Not just saying, hey, we're gonna recycle all the shit you guys are used to. Coming back and just igniting a whole new flame for a whole new generation. It's fucking awesome. And it feels like we're part of that rebirth for them, man. It's the power of music, how a song could just, change everything, change mentalities, and just say, man, the power of music is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That you could
Whatever
say,
issue they had in
that
before, and like, yeah.
it's all about the music, and just say, you know what, man, whatever happened before, the song, the music, what we feel as a band playing together outweighs all the bullshit. And I think that's kind of where they hit. It says, man, let's fucking do it. So to have them on that song it means a lot to us personally, just because everything that goes behind it, and we never imagined that Biohazard will get back together because of it.
Yeah.
That it just happened to be. And the funny thing is, when we were in the studio recording that song, so the part where Evan sings in, I was kind of just repeating another verse, and I wasn't happy with it. I was like, I'm just kind of repeating something. Nothing really is coming into mind for that part. So when we're in the studio, Billy was like, all right, let's just record everything and just leave that part blank for right now. We'll
Yeah.
probably just put some
So he's
extra
like, oh, look what I found, and he brings his slide guitar.
So he goes, and just slide guitar over it. And he's like, let's just fill it in with some guitar if you don't like what you're doing there. And we put in the slide guitar, and they didn't like it that much either. It was okay. It was just kind of like a little bit of a filler, but we felt there was something missing there. And then he just busts out with, what do you think about having Evan do the vocals there? It's like, what do we think about it?
yeah.
Yes,
No.
Yeah.
No.
Do we want Evan Seinfeld on our song? No, we don't want Evan Seinfeld on our song.
No.
Yeah.
So and the awesome thing is too, man. Not for nothing, on the whole record, Billy is on the whole fucking record.
Yeah, if you hear clearly the backing vocals, a lot of them Billy's in it.
Not all of them. All the gang
Yeah.
vocals, all the chants. That was all of us in the studio with Billy. So we're gaming along, chanting along. That's another thing I have so much respect for him. It's not he's not the kind of guy that's like, do this because I said so. No, he's like, do this because I'm fucking doing it. Get your ass in the studio, and you'll see the pictures later we'll release. Just me and him singing on one microphone. Some of them is just us all just singing on one mic, not this bullshit of you get your own mic, stand away from me, I'm a fucking, No, it was like, yo, we need to like
No
sing on the
ego. Yeah.
mic for it to sound good, and he wouldn't ask us to do anything that he wasn't willing to fucking
Yeah.
do himself.
He's
And
leading by example. Yeah.
leading by
Hmm.
example, man, not only
Correct.
leading, pushing us when needed, and just it was amazing work, man. And I hope that we could always continue working with him on every
Yeah.
other fucking record we do because he's a part of the. He's a what we used to say, you're a part of the band, you're the fifth member, bro. And we really do feel that way. He really was and is a part of the band. Just writing everything. He was
Yeah.
100% a part of this record, and
Yeah.
we couldn't have
And
done it
the
without him.
band too, because he still supports us. Like whenever like we're asking for something or we need, like we try not to, but like he's always like, hey guys, whatever I can do for you guys, like
Right,
so.
and even on a personal level, it wasn't just about recording the record, and he always just, took time to like talk to us as people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
That's
just like, yeah, I'm your
Oh
producer,
yeah,
everything I said. He really took the time, man. He really sat
yeah,
there, and there was no stuff going on in my life personally. He really did take the time to like just kind of sit there and level with
yeah,
me and talk to me as a person and just say, hey, man, I know what you're going through. I've been through the same shit. Just fucking, keep
yeah.
your head up and
He's
really,
yeah
really
he's
push me forward as a person, not just as a, just not just, it wasn't just a job for, just, hey, we're working on this
yeah.
record. He really took the time to work with us individually and
Mhm.
make sure that we're as people, we're doing good mentally, physically,
Yeah.
so like I said, a lot of respect for him, man.
Oh no,
A lot
he's an
of
amazing
respect
person.
and love. A lot of respect and love
Yeah,
for him.
yeah. He called me when my mom passed away. He's like he's amazing. He's a great 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 fucking person. Yeah,
Right,
that's
man.
awesome.
Well,
That's
it's,
awesome that you
well,
guys
it's
got to
almost like
work with
he's
him.
part of the family by now too. So
He is,
Yeah.
man.
yeah. Well,
He really
we
is, man.
text each other like Merry Christmas, Happy Father's Day or stuff like that.
Oh yeah. At the
That's
end of the day, man, he put a lot of work into this record, just as much as we did, if not more, man. I think his work ethic.
Yeah,
We'd get I said before we were in the studio, just for months, we're going back and forth with ideas here and there, and you could hear, the intensity in his voice, like, all right, guys, this fucking part, I was just going to do it. This fucking part rips. We're going to fucking do this and that. It's like, he just added and that's the other thing I want to bring up. Like, that intensity, that guy you see on stage running back and forth, going fucking crazy, he brings that intense level to the
yep.
studio. And that's what
yeah,
was really important for us, too, because that was one of the things that, we also push that you know, before, a lot of bands, we didn't want to fall into that category of the record sounds amazing, but live it fucking sucks. We
Yep.
wanted,
yeah,
that the record to be fucking amazing. On the contrary, that it sounded as good as we sound live. Because our live show, we've always prided ourselves that we have an intense live show, high energy, a lot of in your face shit, and we wanted that to be on the record, not the other way around. So he really pushed that intensity. It was never a dull moment in the studio. He was always fucking like, fucking yeah, come on, harder. Run down the fucking stairs. Dude, come on, rush, come on, do it. And always just making that studio to feel like we were recording on a live stage, not a bunch of guys trapped in a studio being bored, recording, going through your shit. He made it like you're recording, motherfuckers. You do this shit. Super intense the whole time, and
Yeah.
we needed it. It also didn't help that we pumped them up with a whole bunch of Cuban coffee. Have you guys
Well,
ever?
Oh my God, he never had Cuban coffee before. He was like, "Oh my
I don't know if you ever had
God!"
any, but it's fucking they're pretty intense shit. He was like, I never had this stuff. We started pumping every morning we go to fucking Cuban coffee. So I think that had.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The first time he had it, he was like, "Oh my God!" And then they were, "Hey, we gotta get coffee.
Yeah,
Where's the coffee? Where's
yeah.
the coffee?"
you got
And and another to that intense
got it
level,
moved.
we were in the studio, man. We weren't taking breaks, not in the sense of like our lunch break. It wasn't like, hey, everybody, just go have a lunch, eat somewhere. Nah, he was the first one to tell you guys, order a fucking sandwich, get a pizza delivered here. You guys are not leaving. Eat
Yeah,
something fast. We're fucking hot right now. The ball's rolling. You need to fucking keep recording. We need to keep this shit rolling, man. So it wasn't like, hey, you're just chilling out. No, the whole time was intense. It was like, eat something quick because we need to keep rolling.
yeah.
You know.
I
So
don't know where he got that energy from all day, man. Like I'm telling you, he will go like 13, 14 hours in the studio, get back home, and he will still be working in the computer. We sleep, wake up, and he will wake up
Mm.
and start working on the computer.
Well, this is the same guy though, if you watch him play live, right? He's the guy that he's jumping off the freaking, monitors and like,
Oh yeah.
he's running
Yeah.
around the stage all like he's got an intensity live. It's one thing to do that for 30 minutes on stage, but this guy it's ridiculous how much energy he
Yeah,
has and his work ethic.
he
Oh
lives on
my
that
God.
intensity.
He
Yeah,
lives
man.
that way, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So it was awesome, man. It was awesome working with him, and we hope that every record we ever do could be with him because
yeah,
I think he's a part for us. He's a part of the band. He's a part of the family.
yeah,
When I will always be grateful to him for what he did with us, the time he invested in us, and just the knowledge, man. He gave so much wealth of knowledge of
Right.
not
hmm,
only writing music, but just how to be a band, and just say, hey guys, trust the process. It's very easy to record a record and just be like, just put it up everywhere. He's like, no, man, guys, trust the process. You got
yes,
you got to just drop it. Relax, chill out. We got to go through the steps. So he kind of just gave us a whole bunch of the behind the scenes stuff that we
yeah,
really didn't see before. We're a band. We're just worried about recording and playing and getting our songs out there. So
yeah,
he really kind of taught us more of the business of it, and helped us along the whole way. And hey, talk to this guy. Hey, you're looking to do. You need some new album work. This is the fucking guy to talk to. You need to
yeah,
go to. So he just didn't hold back and really took
yeah.
the whole project on 100%, man. And we
Yeah,
could have
he gave us basically his contacts to do all, like
Yeah.
logo, album cover, freaking
Dang.
the
Okay.
mastering, everything was like,
and
you know,
and that's another.
video.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought up the mastering really quick. This guy, man, Tui, or I'm not saying this,
Oh,
Tui Madison.
Stuart Manson. Oh, he's
Let me tell you, what an amazing guy. I recommend this guy for the mastering to anybody and everybody. What a fucking beast, man. The songs coming out of the studio, we already were like, this is fucking great. He just took it to another level. And again, what I appreciate about him working on it is and it went with the whole thing of the whole record that we didn't digitalize the whole record. It was all old school. This guy sits in a room with knobs. He's not there, doing it
Jesus.
digitally. He's like, bro, he was like, I'm sitting there with knobs, just fucking going crazy, like really just analog tweaking out the whole entire song. And he put in so much work and patience and not the kind of guy that had a big head and he'll show us the master and we'll be like, hey man,
yeah,
can you boost up the guitars a little bit here? We
yes. Can
he
you?
wasn't
Yeah, can you? Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, I'm the man, I'm the fucking big mastering guy. I fucking did it. This is it. Who are you gonna trust? No, he was open to like our suggestions and say, hey, what do you
Right.
think if we put the guitars up a little bit here? Hey, can you fade it out a little bit more? And he was very, respectful of that. Like, yes, good idea. All right, yeah, I could fucking definitely do that. And he worked with us until we were happy. Not like,
Yeah.
oh, this is you get one or two edits, man, and we're fucking done. No, he took on the project 100% as well. Even I think one point it was like a month after, and we already like said, okay, we're all done, and we're
Yeah.
listening to
That
it. And
was Jim.
can
That
you
was
do
Jim. Like a month after. Like, you know what? I'm not happy about the guitars.
and anybody else would have probably been like, dude, we're fucking. I thought you said you were done like a month ago. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it
He,
was like it was like a month later. I was listening to one part and I was like, it's just not quite. So I got back to him. I was like, dude, what? And he was like, yeah, he didn't say, dude, I was done with that a month ago, man. No, I'm done. Forget it. My masters are finished. No, he did it, and it's like, yeah, he kept going.
That's
Yeah.
a I mean, that's a professional right there.
yeah, man, and
Yeah,
exactly no bullshit, no. Here you go, because somebody else could
It's
do it,
gonna
but
cost you extra because of blah, 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 blah.
like exactly, he didn't do it and be like a dick about it. Like, oh, come on, guys, I fucking already finished this shit. I normally charge for this. I gotta go back, be a dick about it. No, on the contrary, he was like, okay, awesome. Like he wanted the same thing we wanted, and all of us wanted.
Mhm.
That's what makes this record for us so powerful in the sense of everybody was pushing at the same direction, hard as fuck. Everybody pushing each other, and
Yeah.
we all wanted we wanted if everybody's name that was on it wanted this record to succeed and not just hey whatever if it goes it goes. Like everybody really put a lot of fucking heart into this and
Mhm.
work and wanted the best possible result out of it. So I think that's why he
Yeah.
was like, hey man, I'm pretty sure we called him today and said, can you edit another part? He'd be like, all right, go for it. And we think that's what it's going to take, man. So yeah, it was awesome. The whole team that worked on this thing, man, it was awesome. So, and that's why it really meant a lot for us to hear from you guys and you guys to reach out to us, man, because we've been working. It's like the record just came out a month ago, but the reality is we've been working on the behind the scenes to get to this point has been a process. It wasn't an overnight success. It wasn't just, hey, go to the studio and do it. It's been a lot of work from a lot of different people. So to start feeding the feedback and seeing that our hard work and efforts didn't go unjustified means a lot to us, man. So it's, a million thank you to you guys for taking the time to, talk to us
Yeah.
and just look at hear the album, take the time to review it and everything. It really means a lot to us, man, So we
So
really
is
appreciate that.
so do you guys have hard copies of the albums available, or?
We do.
Yes.
We do have hard copies of the album.
That'd be weird if you didn't at this point after what we just talked
right.
about.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm just making sure. So,
Oh, okay. I think we're gonna show us your butt or something. I was like, no, what's happening?
he's gonna.
He's like, I got your hard copy right here.
Yeah.
Hey, we got your copy right here.
So is there? Can I?
I was gonna show you where I have my revolution tattoo. It's actually on my butt cheek. That's why I didn't care. But yeah, no, we
So
did
are those just available at the shows, or you guys have it on your website, or?
for
Right
now.
now it's just at the shows.
Only at the shows. Yep. For right now, only at the shows. Obviously the digital you can stream it everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, all the good stuff. But the physical copies for right now, you can only get them live. We are going to end up putting them up at the store. The same thing, the record, the actual album also will be up there as well. We're debating about doing tapes. We always like to go tapes, so we'll probably see that soon also. But
We're probably gonna do vinyl. Yeah.
right, the vinyl's coming up next. Especially now we'll be leaving on tour soon, so we're gonna have the vinyls for that. So
we're actually gonna be close to you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
you are? Where are you going to be at in Tennessee?
we're finalizing all of the route now, but we're gonna be all over Tennessee, Texas,
nice.
just
Okay.
all over the stuff. So
Hell yeah,
and once we set up, once we have all the dates booked in, we'll let you guys know, man. It'd be awesome if you guys could come to one of the shows.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yes.
Be awesome.
As long as it ain't during my trip to Ireland, I will be there.
Oh yeah, man, it'd be great to see you, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we planning to do that, and like go kind of like west from us. We were trying to go north, but let's go
Right,
west.
kind of same thing that we talked about. Now the runs are that it's either the East Coast run up Florida and do all the way to New York, come down, or going towards the west. And we're going to go towards the west for this one. The next run will be towards the east, But for this one, we're going to do the west, going up, leaving Florida, Georgia,
Up the Panhandle, and then
and going all the way and doing some Texas.
we'll
Yeah,
definitely
so we're
keep
gonna
our
be
eyes
close to you
peeled.
guys.
We're excited for the Texas theme, ready
I
to
think
go.
you guys will be. I think you guys will do good out there, man. So.
Oh, in Texas,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so.
That's what the booking agent said too. That Texas will be a great city, a great state for us
Right.
to get.
So yeah, man.
I think so.
But yeah, we're gonna cut short. I know we got a couple things we got to take care of personally, so we want to make sure we got everything possible in here for you guys. So,
Yeah, man.
so we appreciate you guys taking the time out for.
Hey, thank you.
We'll all haze the drummer and message him saying, "Hey, you missed practice." But
Okay.
Okay, we might just pop up right now again and be like, hey, what's up? I'm here, guys. Did I miss anything? It's like,
it's all good.
Yeah,
we
man,
take we
yeah.
take what we can get. So
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, if it would have just been one of you guys, it would have been just as cool.
yeah, man. No,
But because, like I say, we always extend the invitation to everybody, and we understand, and it's totally fine. I mean, we're still to the point. Even like I say, we're still. To me personally, it still blows my mind that as even with as long as we've been doing this now at this point, that bands still want to come on and talk to us. So I mean, if it would have been one of you guys, it would have been an amazing
I
thing.
know. Come on, man. You
know,
guys are being awesome.
Well,
so it's still kind of a surreal thing for me that we still have bands that come on the show to talk to us, that we're still to this point. It's awesome. It's the reality of it and the gravity of it is still not lost on me. It's still a cool thing for
and
us.
this was one of those where I sent the email out, and then when I got the response, I was like, "Fuck yes." I was like,
That's really big for us, man. It was, like I said, we're just happy to get the music out there finally. Like I said, we worked on this real hard, worked a lot of years on it, and it's just awesome to put it out there and have people enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making it. Because we really did enjoy writing this record.
Yeah, we loved it. Yeah.
To see other people start connecting with it, it's really amazing. So we really appreciate you guys giving us the time to come out here and talk about our story, man, and shoot the shit with you guys a little bit. Fuck yeah, man. I'm definitely see you guys around more, and we'll want to see you guys at the show.
Well, you
guys
guys
will come back to the show at some point.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, y'all get the new music
Absolutely.
out. We'll do it again, man.
Hey,
maybe see you guys at our next show on our tour.
Yep. You guys are
That's something else to talk about next time. So.
Yeah. The funny thing is you guys made a reference to about Evan being in a part of the band now. Every single band that comes on the podcast, we consider part of our family. And hey, every band that comes on the show has got an open invitation to come back anytime. We've had, Vinny's been on twice. We already talked to him about coming on again later this year. We've had 2 other bands be on 3 times already. So hey, anytime.
Awesome.
Anytime, guys.
Fuck yeah, bro. Appreciate you guys, man.
Oh yeah, guys.
We appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a good one.
Everybody,
you guys have
thank
you.
Yep, you guys have a great weekend.
We'll see you.
No, brother.
Be good, brothers. Peace.
Thanks. You too, man.
Take care.
Take care.
Take care. Joel's on his phone.
Cool.
Man.
That was We All Rise. Go check out their new album from beginning to end. It's a great fucking record, man.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and that's the cool thing about it is, we talked about it. It's got a lot. You could tell that it's got a lot. It's a hardcore, Biohazard style album. Of course, with Billy Bio on the album, it's gonna be. But
right.
But there's still a little something for everybody. There's thrash elements, there's groove elements, there's hardcore elements. I mean, there's a little bit of something for everybody. So I mean, it's not just they didn't just get on one road and just go straight down. It's not on a drag strip and goes in one direction the whole time. So got a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I didn't put ours up there. So. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. We do have another one lined up for next week. It was a kind of a rescheduled one. Hopefully they're able to make it this time. We'll see. But I did send out everything to them this morning, so hopefully they'll be back here. So if you haven't yet, check out our 24/7 streaming radio station at thefrontrow.net/radio with a capital R.
Yep, and check out all of our social media platforms, our Facebook group and page, our X account, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, our YouTube channel, Rumble, and find all of our weekly playlists and our band interviews from the past on Spotify. Email us at metalheadsuniteusa@gmail.com.
Yep. And then that will wrap this one up for this week. Hope you enjoyed, and then hopefully we'll see you back here next week for the next interview. And hopefully we got some lines in the water going forward, so hopefully we can go into April with the same momentum, hopefully. So
we'll see if that energy can continue into the next month. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So all right, man. So thanks again to Dana and then Hank Hill for being in the chats, and also was that Isabella?
Isabel Rodriguez for coming by and joining us in the chat. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
So thanks to everybody that was in there commenting. So until next week, I guess we will see you guys then. Until then, keep those horns held high. Jump in that pit anytime.